Welcome to Sex Ed with DB. I'm your host, DB. Let's get into it.
Well, hello there. It's Amy from the Shameless Sex Podcast, where learning about sex and relationships is anything but boring. We're sex educators, authors, and your new favorite dynamic duo, here to make things fun, spicy, and actually applicable to your everyday life. Think pleasure tips, better communication, and endless ideas for creating the sex life of your dreams. We've got nearly 500 episodes, with a fresh one released every week. World-renowned guests like Dan Savage, Nina Hartley, Dr. Tara, Jessica Drake, and of course the amazing Danielle Bezalel. Plus, we've been featured in Cosmo, Men's Health, and Maxim. So yeah, there's a reason why we are in the top 1% of podcasts. From how to level up your oral skills to mastering dirty talk and building real confidence in the bedroom, we will get you there. So go ahead, search Shameless Sex on your favorite podcast app, hit follow, and get ready to laugh, learn, and feel a lot more shameless.
Let's be honest, your shower has been strictly business. It's time for some actual pleasure in there. Enter the Magic Wand Waterproof. Same iconic deep rumbly power, now cordless and fully waterproof, which means shower, tub, pool, cold plunge, all fair game. You've got 4 intensities, 4 patterns, that soft silicone head, and the flexible neck that knows exactly what it's doing. If your shower routine could use something unexpected and delightful, this is it. Find the amazing Magic Wand Waterproof on their Where to Buy page at magicwandoriginal.com/where-to-buy. This might be the most unassuming thing on your nightstand, and also the most powerful. Meet Lem, the tiny lemon that's causing major pleasure. It's cute, it's discreet, it's whisper quiet, and then you turn it on. Suddenly, not so innocent. Lem uses these soft little air kisses that build into full-on waves of pleasure, and with 12 intensity levels, you can take your time or go straight to, oh, wow. It's beginner-friendly, but it does not play small. If you're curious, go to hellonancy.com and use code SEXEDWITHDB for 25% off. Hello. Welcome back to Sex Ed with DB. I'm DB, your favorite sex educator and pleasure expert. And today we're talking about what it really means to access pleasure while living with a chronic condition like bacterial vaginosis, aka BV. BV is one of the most common vaginal conditions, and it happens when there's an imbalance in the vaginal microbiome, meaning the quote-unquote good and quote-unquote bad bacteria get out of whack. That can lead to symptoms like unusual discharge, a strong or fishy odor, and discomfort, and even sometimes pain. And we're not just talking about the clinical textbook version of it, but how it actually shows up in your life, your pleasure, your confidence, relationships, and your connection to your body. Because BV isn't just about symptoms like odor and discharge. It can shape how you actually feel about intimacy with a partner. It can make you second guess yourself, not feel like yourself. It can make pleasure feel complicated or even off the table. And when something like BV affects your sense of confidence and desirability, it's not just a physical thing, it's emotional and relational, and that's deeply tied to pleasure. So today we're talking about what it actually looks like to navigate BV, especially chronic BV, and how to reconnect with pleasure in the middle of it. I'm joined by Daniella Levy, CEO and co-founder of Happy V, a women's wellness company focused on science-backed, transparently formulated products to support vaginal health and confidence. Daniella started Happy V after struggling with recurring BV for 5 years. And since launching in 2019, the company has helped over 1 million women find relief. We're getting into her real experience, what BV did to her body image, her sex life, her relationships, and how she reclaimed pleasure on her own terms. This episode is supported by Happy V. Here I am with Daniella. Hello, Daniella. How's it going today?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic.
Super excited to be here.
Oh my gosh. I'm so happy that you're here. Especially because this season we're partnering with Happy V. And so I'm really, really glad to have you here to really get to know you and your story and like why you founded the company from your own personal experience and what it's like to help women and people with vulvas feel better in their bodies. So that's what we're going to talk about today.
Yes, love that. And I'm excited for your listeners just to hear more about vaginal health, all of the things that go on down there, and hopefully help someone out there that's listening.
That would be really great, and I'm sure that we will. I'm positive that we will. I feel like as we speak this week, I've been like, maybe, do I have a yeast infection? What's going on down there? Like, it's perfect timing because I felt maybe perhaps that I might have a yeast infection. So we're going to get into that. We're going to talk about that. Yes. We'll talk about kind of BV and pleasure are really like the themes, which usually you wouldn't necessarily think that those two go together, but I think that they tell a story together, and we will get into that in a bit. But we're going to go ahead and start with the quick and dirty, which is our rapid fire segment where we get to know our guest with bold questions, honest answers, and real pleasure-centered insight. And so that's why we're here today, to get some insight from you. I'd love to start by you just finishing this sentence. I'm most confident in my body when I'm blank.
Ooh, it can be anything. Anything. I'm most confident in my body when I just feel like, when I feel light. I don't know, when I feel weight off my shoulders.
Ooh, when I'm feeling light. That's really a fantastic answer. I like that. Like there's like a breeziness to it of just like ease, it sounds like.
Yes.
I love that. One thing BV taught you about your body that you didn't know before?
That our bodies are working overtime. And so sometimes you're going to experience a couple things down there that are common. A lot of people are experiencing it, so it's totally normal.
Yes, just like normalizing these things for people is so incredibly important. I feel like there's a lot of stigma and shame that we'll get into today when it comes to chronic conditions like BV or recurring UTIs or yeast infections. And just kind of like, it's kind of one of those things where like, oh, you don't really realize what is going on until it happens to you. And you're like, what even is happening? And that's when usually people are learning. Whereas we hope we get in there beforehand.
Yes, totally. We're going to be talking a lot about that today.
Yes. Okay. This is also anything that you're thinking here. What's a small thing that makes you instantly feel sexy?
Instantly feel sexy. A nice outfit.
Oh, a just cute like outfit, looking in the mirror and being like, I am fucking looking good. I look great
today. Yes. Like, yes, girl, you got it.
Just give me a twirl, honey. Give me a twirl for myself. I love that. I completely agree. Just like a nice fitting, like feel good in your body outfit can change your entire day, I feel. Yes. And same thing with a good hair day, personally. I feel like as I age, my hair has changed, like texture, and I'm getting more grays. And it's just when it fits easily, I'm like, oh my God, I am gorgeous.
Yeah, and embracing it too. Like just being like, you know what, like this looks good for today. This is how much effort I could put into it today. So, just working with what you got, over time, we're just going to change. But I think that just embracing that change.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again, something that we don't think about until it's happening to us, and we have to contend with it. Exactly. The last question we have for the quick and dirty is, what does feeling good in your body mean to you now, with all the knowledge that you have about, recurring BV and how you were able to kind of heal that with everything that we're going to talk about, versus before? What were those like different things about feeling in your body like?
I think just having more information. So like just being knowledgeable, and like learning about your body. And it doesn't necessarily need to be like something that you saw online, but just like learning about how your body acts, how you feel, being in tune with your body once you kind of understand like what's going on. I think having clarity around that is what really helped me during that time in my life, and even continuing into now.
Yes, like knowing how it really is all about how in tune with your body you are to really actually feel confident, in the know, empowered, especially when we're talking about these chronic conditions. And so we're gonna get into that right now. I want to hear your origin story. Tell me about you and what led you to start Happy V.
Yeah, so let me take you back to almost over a decade ago now, which is crazy. So I started experiencing BV in my early 20s. And for those that don't really know what BV, it's a bacterial infection usually caused by Gardnerella vaginalis. And it's pretty common. And I didn't know that at that time. But when I started experiencing it, some of the symptoms that I was getting was like unusual odor, which we're going to be talking a lot about, discharge and irritation, itch down there, and a lot of discomfort. And so I went to my gynecologist. I asked, I have this issue going on. What is it? Is it an STD or like, I don't know what's going on. Something's off. And my doctor basically said, no, this is normal. It's very common. It's called BV, bacterial vaginosis. And the way to get rid of it is with antibiotics. I was like, okay, cool. Got my antibiotics, took my antibiotics, and I thought like that was the end of it, which actually turned out to be continue to be this recurring cycle that I would go to the doctor again for BV or sometimes a yeast infection. They would prescribe me antibiotics, and then it was just going on for 5 years. So I dealt with this for 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah,
Wow.
insane. Yeah, it's insane. When I think about it, I'm like, I can't believe that I went through that. But it's not just my case. It's so many people are also experience that same thing that I went through.
Wow.
And so started switching my gynecologist because I was like, there's no way that I'm going to live with this for the rest of my life. There has to be somebody out there that can help me solve this. And started going to different gynecologists, and each one would prescribe me antibiotics every time, or maybe sometimes a cream. But ultimately, none of it was, or like what they were recommending wasn't helping me get rid of BV. So this kind of started affecting my mental health, my confidence, like just how I showed up as myself. I didn't truly feel like I could 100% be myself. And that's what led me down the path of wanting to look into what BV was, like what, like the science behind it. Were there other products out there that could help me? Were there other people experiencing this? Because I would ask my friends, or I would ask like my mom, have you ever had BV? And they'd be like, I've never heard of this, and I don't have that. And also there'd be another caveat to this where they'd be like, also, I'm not dirty, or like I take care of myself. I'm clean.
No.
Yes. And then I'd be like, well, I'm clean too. Like I'm taking care of myself too.
I shower as well.
So there was like this shame around it, and misinterpretation around BV and like your vaginal microbiome and how you take care of yourself down there, which is not always correlated to showering. So
Right. Of course.
yeah, so that I realized that one, there's a lot of stigma around just talking about vaginas overall, but also there's like a stigma associated with having BV, and then there's the other component of like there weren't a ton of solutions out there in the market during this time, because this was like back in like 2015.
Wow.
Like 2015, like 2014. So during that time, we did not have ChatGPT. We did not have TikTok. So a lot of my research was like on Google and going down Reddit forums and going on Facebook groups and going into these online communities where they were a safe space where a lot of other women that were going through the same thing were talking about these issues too. So I was like, okay, there are women out there that are experiencing them. It's very common. It seems like it's very common. I came across this stat where it was like over 21 million women experience BV in the US each year. So I was like, okay, I'm not the only person going through this. So there needs to be a solution out there for us women that are dealing with this. And so during this time, I also started dating my partner, who's also a co-founder in Happy Bee. His name is Hans. And we started dating. And so, of course, you don't really want to be intimate. You are a little bit, embarrassed because of the symptoms that come with having BV. And I remember he was like, okay, what's going on here? You don't really want to be intimate with me. And then I was like, how do I tell this guy that I have BV without him freaking out that it's like an STD? Because that was my thing. I was like, I don't know how to communicate about this with other people, especially with someone that you're about to be intimate with. So, we sat down. I started talking to him about it. I'm like, I have this thing called BV, explained to him what it was. And then he was very, he made me feel very comfortable to open up to him about it. And then also he was like, well, I actually want to help you figure this out. So he's a very supportive partner from the beginning. And that's a good sign. Yeah. So then he's like, his family has been in the dietary supplement manufacturing industry for over 25 years. So, and I didn't really understand what that meant. So basically they've been manufacturing for a lot of brands that have been around for many, many years, that sell in Target and Vitamin Shop. And then I was like, okay. So we met with his, with like formulators and, researchers and like scientists to create a formula for me. But also during all of that, I was also trying things over the counter like boric acid and vitamin C tablets and garlic cloves and all of the things that everybody on Reddit was also trying, because you get so desperate that you're like, I'm going to try everything until I find something that's going to work for me. So trying all of these things over here, then my partner over here is trying to like help me with a formula. And we developed a probiotic, which is now our hero product for Happy Bee, our prebiotic probiotic, which contained 7 clinically proven probiotic strains, a prebiotic. And when I tried this and I actually finally got rid of my BV, that's when I was like, hold on a second, we need to share this with other women, because other women are out there also looking for solutions and they need something that's actually going to help them.
Wow.
So I know that's a big long spiel, but like,
no,
that
super
is
helpful.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how Happy Bee came to be. It was through this long journey of trying to just figure something out that was causing a lot of mental load on me, and also just not making me feel like I could be myself. And I mean, now fast forward, we've been around for 7 years.
Wow.
And we've helped over 1 million women that also struggled with recurring BV. So it's really special.
Wow. There's so much in there. First of all, I'm so happy that you found something for yourself. For 5 years to have to struggle through that and feel like you are uncomfortable and in pain and not being intimate the way you want and just not feeling like yourself in your body. 5 years is a very long time to be experiencing that. So that's number one. Number two, how incredible that you found a partner who not only was like, I got your back, it's okay, you don't need to feel stigma or shame about this, and I'm also going to help you try to fix this thing with science. It's like absurd and amazing.
It's not common.
It's not common at all.
No.
And 1 million women, that is, I hope you feel very proud and very just happy with being able to impact people's day-to-day lives like that. I mean, that's wild, and I'm sure beyond your dreams. And now you have new dreams, I'm sure, of reaching 10 million women or whatever it is.
Yes, we're going to reach everybody, all women around the world.
Everyone who needs it.
I'm definitely so proud of what we've been able to accomplish so far.
Yeah, that is so wild. And so it sounds like the pre and probiotic is the thing that many women are gravitating towards. Could you explain a little bit more about what happens in the body when recurring BV happens and how the pre and probiotic work essentially?
Yeah, so bacterial vaginosis, like I was mentioning before, it's a bacterial infection. So it's usually you have your good bacteria and you have your harmful bacteria. You want more good bacteria, obviously, which will balance your pH levels, which typically your vagina needs to be in an acidic environment. So anywhere your pH should be between 3.8 and 4.5. If it goes over 4.5, it becomes more alkaline. So this is when that bad bacteria can invade that space and take over the microbiome, which will then cause the symptoms of unusual odor. So like it could sometimes be fishy or pungent, excessive discharge or watery discharge. That could either be like either like really white, because there's white where like that's good, but then sometimes like white pungent is like could be a sign of BV. And also gray, like so grayish or yellow greenish, like so there's like different types of colors. And then irritation, redness as well. Typically when you're intimate, some people do notice more of an odor afterwards that is like, again, pungent, fishy. So your partner might notice that there's something going on. And so that's like one of those like signs is like, maybe I have PV, which is again, really important still that you go to the doctor to get tested to make sure that it is that. There are a lot of different things in your lifestyle that can cause BV to occur. So it could be anywhere from the underwear that you're wearing, you want to wear cotton underwear, or it could be your diet. So if you have a diet very high in sugar feeds bad bacteria, so it's kind of harder to get rid of them. It can also be like your intimate soap or the lube that you're using, because scent or your vaginal microbiome is very sensitive to all of these outside factors. So, just like looking into your lifestyle is one of those things if you want to like start to eliminate to try to see what could be causing it. And then the way that the prebiotic probiotic helps is, so probiotics are good bacteria. And so their job is to go into the vaginal microbiome and your gut microbiome, replenish those good bacterial levels, because usually it's a sign that you don't have enough right now, which is causing BV. So they're going to go in and they're going to invade that space. And then the prebiotic, which our prebiotic is a bacteriophagic prebiotic, it works by going in there and helping the probiotics do their job. And the way that it does this is it's very cool. Like if you actually watch like a video of how, like under a microscope of how this all works, but essentially it goes in there, it lands on the harmful bacteria. It injects a DNA into this harmful bacteria, and then it explodes and like goes away essentially. Then it makes
the explosion.
Yes, it like explodes, and then it creates an environment where this good bacteria can now thrive in and replenish those reserves, so that your pH now becomes balanced. And now you're good. Your vaginal microbiome is healthy, and you want to make sure that it just like stays in that state so that you don't get BV again. So essentially that's how that works. And so, just going back to BV, I think the most important thing though, it's always go get tested to make sure that it is actually BV, because what I found is that a lot of us sometimes will want to self-diagnose. And because we want the solution now. We're like, I need something is off down there, and I need something right now.
Because you're feeling desperate, and that makes sense.
Yeah. But sometimes you might, when you self-diagnose yourself and you try to attack it yourself in the beginning, you might actually cause a little bit more harm than good. So I think it's always just check in with your doctor to make sure that it is what it is.
You know what I've been thinking about a lot lately? How much better everything feels when your body is just comfortable. Less friction, less irritation, more confidence to actually be in the moment. That's a big reason I love Uberlube, and why I have for a long, long time. Yes, it makes sex feel amazing. It's silky, long-lasting, and doesn't get sticky, but it also shows up in ways people don't expect. Hot weather, it prevents chafing. Working out, same thing. Long day in a dress or shorts, I promise you your thighs will thank you if you use Uberlube. And I love that it's part of this idea of lube without labels, because pleasure, comfort, and bodies don't fit into neat categories, and your products don't need to either. It's just a really well-made formula that works for your body, however you use it. If you want more confidence and better feeling everything, go to uberlube.com and use code SEXEDWITHDB for 10% off at checkout. Okay, real talk. If your vagina feels off, like recurring itchiness or odor, that's your microbiome trying to get your attention. Your vaginal health is all about balance, and when that balance gets disrupted, that's when things like yeast infections or BV can show up. The Happy V prebiotic and probiotic is designed to support a healthy vaginal microbiome and maintain an optimal pH with 7 clinically studied probiotic strains at their clinically effective dosages. If you're ready for the relief you've been looking for, head to happyv.com and use code SEXEDWITHDB for 15% off your first order. That's happyv.com. Happy V as in vagina.com. Love the plug to check in with your gyno. Yes, very, very important. We are science-backed and medical forward on this show. So very, very key. Super helpful science lesson. I think that, that feels really, really helpful to hear. For folks who are listening who have experienced, chronic yeast infections or UTIs, or maybe folks who are listening are very familiar with chronic BV and very much have gone through that. It kind of makes me feel like it's similar in some ways to folks who experience pain during sex, like penetrative sex, like similar kinds of things of just feeling like I'm not myself. This is very frustrating. I don't really like this pain, this odor, what have you, whatever's going on with you in the vagina. And I'm wondering if for you, penetrative sex felt kind of off the table during that recurrent BV time. Let's get into pleasure. Like, how are you still accessing pleasure, solo or partnered? Like, how do you talk to, clients who engage with Happy V about this? What does that look like for you to actually get pleasure during this time?
So I think that with, when it comes to pleasure and intimacy, I think it's definitely key to feel comfortable, right? Not just like externally, but also internally. And I think that part of that came from also emotionally. So like, I think that when you maybe are in a relationship or you're seeing someone, I think it's really important that there's like a safe space and an emotional type of like boundary, or like an emotional, like you just like a safe space in order for you to be like, hey, I want to open up to this person because I want to be able to show up and feel comfortable when you're like, being intimate and not be so in my head about it while we're, being intimate with each other. So I think that in my case, at least, that was really important for me, because I cannot be intimate with someone else if I don't feel like there's this emotional connection where I can freely, yes, exactly, trust. Building that trust and making sure that this person is also like not judging me or shaming me, that, this is going on in my body. I don't really have that much control over it right now. I'm figuring it out. Can we figure this out together? So just communicating that, I think, is really important. And so if you, and we even tell this to like our customers, if you feel like you can communicate this with your partner, I think that that's definitely key in like in a relationship or somebody that you're seeing. And then like, as far as like solo, pleasure goes, I don't really remember if I was doing that, but I think that honestly, like behind closed doors, nobody's there. Yeah. Like that for me at least was not a problem, because I'm like, I'm aware of this problem. I'm hyper aware actually.
This is me.
But
like, this is just who I am right now. And I'm gonna, be myself.
And I'm fine with it.
Yeah. Like an acceptance almost for where you're at.
Yes. So I think that I just think communication, feeling safe, emotionally, and then that will help you down the road when it comes to like approaching intimacy and showing up as your best self. That will help you out.
Totally. Yeah. I think you're making a really good point of like even trusting your partner and like having this like acceptance for where you are, that opens the door for pleasure, right? And
Yes.
even we talk a lot on the podcast about like, you know, even if you're not able to engage in penetration or, you know, anything to do with the vagina in particular, there's so many more things, right? There's kissing, there's massage, there's the clitoris, of course, which we talk about pretty much every episode. Like there are so many, you know, ways to engage in intimacy with yourself and with a partner that don't involve penetration. And I think that comes down to, you know, what we're taught in school of like sex equals penis in vagina. And it's like, actually, sex is so much more than that. And while we're figuring this out, while we're, you know, going to the doctor and going through our diagnosis and really trying to understand what pleasure can look like in this interim period. And hopefully, dear God, it doesn't last for 5 years for other people because that's horrific. And hopefully it doesn't, you know, people go through these chronic conditions their whole lives, right? Like 5, 10, 20, 30 years. And I think that there is some sort of like radical acceptance in it. And obviously you're trying to figure out everything that you can do to fix it. But like everyone has something that can prevent them from experiencing pleasure. And so what is the thing that you're opening the door to being able to experience it for yourself? And trusting your partner is a really big one.
It's a big one. Yeah. And what, back to your point, like, yeah, physical closeness, like just being close to the person.
Yes.
Cuddling, you know, those things are still open. They're still on the table, I think, during this period where you're trying to figure something out. And yeah. You brought up a really great point about how your partner was so open to not only, again, talking about it and accepting you for who you are, but being like, let's start a company about this. Like, you know, and like, let's make you, Daniella, a specific formula. Like, that's fucking awesome. And I'm wondering if you have any advice for folks, because you brought up a good point of feeling like, oh, like this conversation feels like I'm almost disclosing an STI of like, this is, you know, the weight of the stigma and shame that comes with me explaining that I have BV does feel akin to me sharing that I have an STI. And I'm sure this can, people can relate if you are listening, dear listener, and you have a chronic condition or you have an STI, it can feel really challenging to talk to a new partner about that. And so I'm curious if you can share like your tips on how to start that conversation and what that could look like. Yeah. So one thing is like, of course, I'm going to be real here. I was definitely uncomfortable and embarrassed, just going into it. Like I wasn't like, yeah, like I got this, but just like setting that expectation, because it is tough. Like you're being vulnerable about something that is so intimate to you. And your health. And I think that for some people, you don't want to be misunderstood or shamed. So I think that, you know, just realizing going into it that you're human, you know, this is something very sensitive. But then kind of when you're communicating to somebody else, whether it's a female partner or a male partner, I think on a human level, it's like, you know, this is something that I don't truly understand myself just yet, and I'm figuring it out. And so give me some grace. But these are and like, just explain to them, like, this is what it is. This is what it causes it. Here are a couple solutions that I'm looking into, and then just see how they respond to that. And then kind of like take it from there. And, you know, ultimately, I think that if you're with someone that cares about you, they're going to be open and they're going to be accepting, and they're going to want to help you out too. They're going to be like, okay, yeah, I get it. You might even find out that they have something going on too. So great. Let's work on these things together.
Yeah.
Let's support each other.
That's a really good point of like opening up the conversation and being like, oh, like you might have, some sort of chronic thing that you're, again, like it's everyone eventually, if we're lucky, will have a chronic thing. Like if we age, and we get old, like we all will become disabled one day. Like I think about this often of just like, there are things that people deal with all the time and everyone's thing is just a little different. And it's a really great point too, to like weed out the people who don't care about you. And like, if this is something where you're just looking for like a casual hookup and the person's like not cool with what's going on, then like you don't need that bullshit, especially while you're trying to figure your stuff out. Like everyone has something. And if someone's not going to be like open and patient and supportive, then they don't deserve to be your partner. And that's kind of it.
Exactly. And then that's going to be a red flag for you. And you're going to be like, actually, I don't know if I want to continue this.
Yes.
Or it's a green flag and you're like, this is awesome.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've talked all about kind of your BV story. We've talked about how, BV works and some of the symptoms and how to, how to potentially interrupt that cycle with the good bacteria. We've talked about, how to access pleasure and how opening up the conversation with a partner can really like open the doorway to be able to feel some sort of pleasure, intimacy, closeness, even if it's not, penetration. And if that's off the table, then other things that people can do, toys, masturbation, kissing, massage, holding hands, there's so many other ways to feel intimacy and closeness. So yeah, we've gone through a lot. And I just have one more question for you, Daniella, which is for someone who's listening, who is dealing with, chronic BV right now, or some sort of other reproductive health issue, say that they have yeast infections, that say that they get UTIs, like something where they're experiencing pain, discomfort, and a little bit of shame and frustration around their sex life. And they're feeling disconnected from their body. What do you want them to know? What's like your advice to them, or what's the thing that you would tell them?
So if they're feeling disconnected, I would say, and you're going through something when it comes to your health, I think that, again, I think it just goes back to that awareness of like, okay, something's going on here. I want a solution. I think that breaking free from like being stuck is also a form of feeling empowered, because you have control. Like the control is still in your hands in some way or shape or form. And so whether it's, let me go to the doctor, or there's a ton of groups online also, which is like, I think where I found a lot of my validation, and I felt like I was seen and heard, because there were other people going through it too. So I think that there's like that relatability. You can also be very vulnerable in these groups. They're so supportive. So that was really great too. And I think that if you have someone in your a friend or a family member that you can open up to, I always feel like talking it out helps. And it just goes back to like that communication, communicating, and just like, knowing that there's somebody else out there that's like willing to listen, willing to try to help you out. It doesn't always have to be a partner. And I think those would be some of the tips that I would share with somebody, whoever's listening, and on this episode, to take action on that. And that's still a little bit of action, to feel like you're in, there's something that you can do about it. And it feels almost like these small wins will lead up to that bigger win, to helping you get through this time.
Completely. Yes. I think the control piece is so essential for being someone who's been in therapy on and off like my whole life, like hearing myself out loud talk about the fact that when I feel more in control of something, things feel like a little less intense. And then on the flip side of being like, I'm doing everything I can, like eventually this too shall pass. Like if I don't have, control over this in this moment, like life is long. And like just the idea that there are folks out there, groups, Happy V is here. Like there are practical things that you can try to see if that helps your condition. And just know that you are not alone. And that I do think that another thing, all of our seasons lately have been themed all about pleasure. And it's because it really like helps us feel whole and in our bodies and feel happy and joy. And especially with everything that's going on in the world and everything that might be going on in your body, like stress can really counteract kind of the joys that we feel when we have pleasure. And so the biggest act of resistance often when we feel stressed or we feel out of our bodies is to figure out what gives you pleasure. So that's what I would say. And Daniella, thank you so much for being here today. It's been so wonderful getting your insight and hearing your story. And I am thrilled to be partners with Happy V this season. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I hope that somebody takes something good away from hearing about BV and pleasure and intimacy and feeling good and confident about yourself, because it's all, this is I feel like this is a confidence podcast about your pleasure and your sexuality. So thank you so much for having me today.
Welcome to The Afterglow, where we wind things down, reflect on big takeaways, and leave you with one juicy thing to try, think about, or explore before next week. What I loved about this conversation with Daniella is how clearly it shows that pleasure isn't just about what your body can do, but it's about how safe and confident and connected you feel in your body, with yourself, and with a partner who can really make you feel good. BV can interrupt that connection that you have. It can make you feel like your body is working against you. But what Daniella shared is a reminder that if you can access safety and confidence, you can also access pleasure. And sometimes pleasure can look a little different. It could look like taking penetrative sex off the table, going to the gyno and feeling more in control, exploring new kinds of touch, rebuilding trust with your body, or simply choosing not to shame yourself for what you're going through. So here is your pleasure practice of the week. Engage in one way that you can connect with your body that has nothing to do with penetration. Make out with a partner or a new date, use a toy on yourself, light a candle that you love, listen to audio erotica, because you deserve access to pleasure at every stage of a journey where your body isn't matching up with where you want your mind to be. Thank you so much for listening. Love y'all. Talk to you next week.